Welcome to Executives at the Edge, the podcast from Amplify. Each episode features insights from the top network, cloud, and technology executives, giving you key takeaways to help you grow your revenue and bring solutions to market faster. I'm your host, Pascal Menezes. Join me as we explore thought-provoking perspectives from the leaders and changemakers propelling the AI-powered digital economy forward. So I'm so excited to have Siân Morgan. She's a research director of Dell'Oro Group. And today's episode, we're going to cover Campus Network as a Service. So what is Campus NaaS? Why is it different? What does it have to offer? Really, how will AIOps play into this? Will the market grow? Who are the players? It's a really fascinating topic. And really, how will Campus NaaS and wide area NaaS that MEF's been working on come together? So with that, I would like to welcome Siân to Executives at the Edge. Siân, for our listeners, can you talk a little bit more about your role, what you do, your background, and what Dell'Oro does?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Pascal. Thank you so much for having me. Dell'Oro Group is a quantitative market research firm based in Silicon Valley. We set the standard in terms of telecom and IT market data and information. So we provide in-depth and objective research to support decision-making of executives who are involved in the IT industry. And I'm an analyst at Dell'Oro Group. I'm responsible for the enterprise IT networking markets of wireless LAN and campus switching. And there are some really interesting trends going on right now. There's the upheaval caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, which sends shockwaves through this industry for 5 years after it happened. And there's the migration to the next standard, Wi-Fi 7. There's providing access to that pristine 6 gigahertz band that some enterprises are only just getting access to for the first time. There's a really interesting question going on right now, which is hotly debated about how the use of AI inside enterprises is likely to change the design of the enterprise LAN. So that's a really interesting trend that I'm watching. But I also am watching Campus NaaS, and I have just released my latest research report on public cloud managed LAN and Campus NaaS. And it delves into the trend of how vendors are hosting the LAN management in the cloud and how the local area network is adopting this cloud-inspired as a service construct.
Well, thank you, Siân. Very interesting topic because, at MEF, we've now embarked on a journey of NaaS, Network as a Service. But our Network as a Service really comes from the telco point of view of providing a cloud-like service model to the enterprises. But it stops at the point of saying the demarc point is the point of the site of the location of your Mr. Enterprise, your location, whether it be a factory warehouse, a campus, or even a store or a site. So it just demarks there. But now the idea of NaaS, Campus NaaS, means it extends all the way into the campus or the sites or the locations. And there's a lot of technology of LAN switching, wireless, private 5G, and so on. So tell us more about Campus NaaS. I think the audience wants to know what is Campus NaaS and how is it similar or different than the NaaS I've talked in the wide area?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it's one that the industry is struggling with, actually, because we have like a confusion in terms often. So the similarity with often what people think of when they hear about NaaS, which is more in the wide area network, like you said, the service provider market, the similarity is they're both inspired by the ease of use of the cloud computing model. So the same notions of automation, of technology abstraction, that concept of hosting or outsourcing, the concept of having a recurring fee instead of an upfront CapEx model. So all of those are very similar notions. Where Campus NaaS differs is it really focuses, like you said, on the enterprise network. So that layer 2 local area network, which is inside the enterprise or in the branch office. And today, those networks are heavily weighted towards wireless access, and in particular, wireless LAN. Many organizations have gone wireless first or wireless only, which isn't a surprise when you consider like PCs don't come with Ethernet ports anymore. And I watch my kids doing their homework and they do it on their phones. They don't even do it on their PCs anymore. So a lot of carpeted offices, a lot of educational institutions are like wireless first or wireless only. And so these are heavily influenced by Wi-Fi. And in fact, these days I hear people use the term fourth utility. And that fourth utility is Wi-Fi because it's ubiquitous and it's so critical to business operations. So Campus NaaS is really about turning the enterprise LAN, which is known to be complex and error prone, into that fourth utility where a user can just log in and it just works. It always works.
But I think it goes further than that, no? Because the idea is, why does Campus NaaS come in now? Because as you said, it's a wireless first frontier. Many enterprises are using wireless first, but there are also examples where you need to have wired too, right? Not everything, because there's servers, there's mission critical things, and there's printers, or I don't know, all kinds of things that still have to be wired. And so I think the question is, what is Campus NaaS? Is it the idea that from the cloud, all of these switches and wireless access points and private 5Gs inside the campus or the warehouses are all managed from the cloud? Is that what Campus NaaS is?
So that's one important element, because in order to deliver this cloud construct service, vendors do have to make use of the cloud. And that's for a lot of really good reasons. But one of the advantages is that it's possible to automate from the cloud. There's a lot of data in the cloud. It's possible to do frequent software updates in the cloud. So Campus NaaS offers are based on cloud delivery models. But that's not sufficient, because there are a lot of offers out there that are based on the cloud delivery model, but that aren't Campus NaaS. So in addition to that, the services that we're looking at often include lifecycle services. So to sort of simulate that ease of use concept. And they are charged on this recurring fee model. So there's not necessarily an outright purchase of equipment in a CapEx model, but the hardware is financed, and the pricing structure is constructed in a recurring way for the enterprise.
So does that mean that, of course, the enterprise doesn't have to buy anything, they just buy like a subscription, and they obviously have to sign more than a month subscription, but they buy a subscription some term, and then the equipment shows up and it's refreshed accordingly. It's owned by the provider of Campus NaaS, not by the enterprise itself. The updates, the software, the hardware, all done. And then the experience is also exposed, right? I mean, the ability to say, I want this experience and this security posture of zero trust. So there's more things integrated than just connectivity. Is that correct?
I think you're really touching on something very interesting there, because the trouble we have is that not all the services on the market do cover all those elements, but they are some common themes there, definitely. So we have some Campus NaaS offers, which are really all complete, all services, recurring model. Although within that, the enterprise may purchase some parts of it CapEx. We have other Campus NaaS services, which we call LAN as a utility, which include hardware upgrades. So even the hardware upgrades are included in that recurring fee. Like, not all of them are, but the LAN as a utility services do. And often the vendor is delivering monitoring services and dashboards, and that kind of service will come with an SLA. And what's really interesting about a service level agreement in Campus NaaS is that the design there is really the responsibility of the vendor or the managed service provider. And if the network performance does not meet what's outlined in the SLA, the enterprise can actually get credits on their service. So these are characteristics, I would say, of the LAN as utility model, but not all Campus NaaS models actually include those factors.
But what is the difference between, I go to Cisco and get Meraki. That's coming from the cloud. It's managed from the cloud. It's managed by Cisco. Is that not a Campus NaaS?
No, not necessarily. I think that's a great point. So Cisco, there you can get a Campus NaaS offer with Meraki if the MSP is willing to deliver it to you. So it's really an MSP-led service, and in that case, the MSP may be financing the hardware, or another vendor may be another party, another organization might be financing the hardware to allow the fee to be recurring. And maybe the MSP is also providing this service level agreement, but not necessarily. So I can go to Meraki and purchase Meraki and just get a cloud managed service, purchase the equipment in a normal CapEx model. It will not come with a service level agreement. So that's really public cloud managed equipment. But if I want a Campus NaaS offer, I need it to be financed. I could often have an SLA with that. And the management of the offer would be included in the service.
And also now cybersecurity is included. So zero trust policies are very important, and credentialing,
Exactly. Yes.
network
Yes.
access control, and so on.
Yes,
So
those
it's
are
very
all
powerful.
very important points. And in fact, that's a trend we've seen with the LAN as utility providers, is they're starting to broaden their offer and include more and more elements like that. And we do know that security is really critical in what they're looking at offering.
So how long ago was Campus NaaS come out, and how has this evolved? Are we seeing all Cisco and Junipers and Extremes and all of them jumping into this now, or they're just all startups like Nile and Meter and...
Yeah, so this is where the different kinds of Campus NaaS really shine through, because depending on what kind of vendor is offering it, we'll get different kind of Campus NaaS. I would say that this offer has been around for longer than most people realize. Some vendors have been developing Campus NaaS technology for almost 10 years now. Other vendors have been selling this kind of service since 2018. However, the service became more visible in 2022, with several different vendors coming out of stealth mode to officially launch and sell products. And so some of these are startups, and they are offering this LAN as utility model of Campus NaaS. And others are traditional vendors like Extreme, like CommScope, Juniper, and a big player in there is HPE Aruba. And so these vendors are offering what we're calling either enabler or turnkey Campus NaaS, and they tend to work with channel partners like managed service providers to deliver this service to enterprises.
But isn't there an opportunity even now for the telco NaaS, the NaaS of our member base, service provider NaaS, to kind of offer these Campus NaaS and bring them and unifying NaaS as one? So that there's the wide area NaaS and the Campus NaaS, and they offer it all. And now it's truly end-to-end, from device, application, user, to the service, which is Palm Cloud, that it's all managed and delivered. Do you see that as an outcome in the future?
I see that as a big opportunity. You're right. So far, in fact, to be honest, I'm surprised that more vendors haven't jumped in offering that end-to-end view already. It hasn't really happened yet. We haven't seen a push in that area, but I think it's a real opportunity. It goes along with the automation and the desire for enterprises to automate and to have an end-to-end, a turnkey solution. And so I think this is a real opportunity for vendors and service providers today.
Yeah, and we actually have Nile, a great startup, as you know, John Chambers funded startup, or chairman, I believe, is on that startup. And they're a member, and they see also a view of all of this coming together. And we, in our APIs, our automation APIs, we see it's very important that when someone buys a service of a NaaS, it includes the campus side, then everything has to be automated from the business, operational systems, and remember, service providers always think scale, millions and millions. So how do you do that? So I think there's certainly an opportunity of how MEF will play a role in bringing and unifying all of the NaaS story together between wide area NaaS and the Campus NaaS. I think it's really good. But let's just change topic for a second. How will AI play in all this? AI ops, AI, agentic AI. How will all this play to enable the Campus NaaS to even be more better?
Yeah, it's a great question, because at this moment in time, enterprises are scrambling to figure out how AI is going to transform their industries, right? And so how they're looking at how should they be using it to make sure they don't fall behind. And in that consideration, I would say network operations is an ideal use case for enterprises to be looking at. And many enterprises are looking at this area. Why network operations? Because first of all, we know the network emits a vast amount of data from all sorts of domains. So right away, it seems to be ripe for some kind of AI model, right? We know that organizations are still spending valuable human time and energy on troubleshooting networking problems. There's a saying that goes, when something's wrong with a network, it's always the Wi-Fi. And so there's a lot of energy that goes into figuring out what's wrong with a network. And even before ChatGPT hit mainstream, vendors have been using machine learning to support network operations and analysis. So I think that this cloud managed construct that we spoke about, it allows for this centralized high performance compute, frequent software updates, and all of these trends really help with AI adoption. So that's all to say that AI ops, it's the real moment for AI ops is a real moment for enterprises to consider integrating this into their operations. And because of this, AI ops is a key piece of nearly every vendor's IT strategy. And AI ops and automation are very linked because AI algorithms can resolve networking issues without involving a human. They can help predict problems before they even occur. They can also be used to converse in a natural language with humans to more easily perform network management tasks with maybe less technical expertise. So there's a real benefit, right, to bringing AI ops to enterprises right now. And that's true for all the campus LAN offers on the out there, but it's also very valid for Campus NaaS offers, because Campus NaaS offers really need to be automated to be competitive. And so this is really on the bleeding edge for them. But I would say, because I wanted to pick up on something you had mentioned, which is really important. So AI ops is not the only enabler of automation. APIs, you mentioned APIs. This is another important element. I know you guys have been very active in developing industry standard APIs. This is something that we've also seen on the campus vendor side with vendors developing APIs that link to upstream applications. And you mentioned about APIs for automation and to get scale. And in this case, those APIs are also providing depth because they allow for this cross-domain analysis. So for instance, you can link data from the VLAN level of the network with video conference applications to maybe, correlate why there are performance issues with video conferences. Or you could link your access point configuration with your inventory application. So there's a lot of opportunity there through APIs and through AI ops to automate and bring added value to enterprises.
Your point is well taken. MEF's been focused on really standardizing the API portfolio across the supply chain. So we believe in the supply chain has to be interoperable and standardized because there's so many proprietary APIs that if everybody has to, plug into a proprietary API, it takes a long time to develop it, integrate it, and then it's changing. And so this bespoke model of proprietary APIs just don't work for many people. So MEF's our main mission is to be really, automate and federate these standardized APIs across the whole supply chain. But, at the end and we're coming to the end of this episode, so I want to thank you, but I want to ask you one more question. So will Campus NaaS, will it take over the LAN market? Is that what you think the future will bring, and the way that people buy and sell and how they do today's campuses and sites and so on will all go to this subscription Campus NaaS, which is even for small sites, small businesses?
Yeah, I think the answer is that it's too early to tell still. We're in this rapid growth stage right now where the market is still small. The Campus NaaS market is fairly small, but the growth rates are huge. And we, once we get a standardization of how to define it, that whole topic we discussed earlier on, and we have more marketing and more education around the concept, I expect it to continue to grow even more. I think that the other aspect is that the growth of Campus NaaS is going to depend a lot on how it's taken up by the channel partners, because vendors really do need strong links with channel partners to get that scale. So as the offers are tweaked and become more attractive to channel partners, we're going to see that growth again too. So one of the things that, I look back at history to when I do my forecasts to determine where the market's going, I often look back at history. And when we do look back at history, we can take the public cloud managed LAN service as a proxy to look at how that developed. And when Cisco purchased Meraki in 2012, sort of public cloud managed LAN went mainstream. And it took over 10 years for that kind of service to represent 20% of the campus networking market. So I think the message there is that often these things take longer than we think. However, the growth in that area has always been faster than the overall market, and I expect that to be the case for Campus NaaS as well.
Well, I gotta say, Siân, thank you so much for all your expertise, your insights, and I'm sure our audience really appreciate all of this. So with that, I want to thank you, and it's been really a delight talking to you.
Thank you, Pascal. Likewise.
Thank you for listening to Executives at the Edge, brought to you by Amplify. Be sure to follow, share, and leave a review. Catch every episode on your favorite platform or visit us at amplify.net.